Hello, YouTube. So, Diana Taurasi, the WNBA legend, has made some statements regarding her salary and her playing career. So, let's go on ahead and get into this. When asked about her pay her rookie year, Diana Taurasi stated, "45,000, like that's what I'm going to make. That's what I'm going to make after 4 years of playing at the most prestigious basketball college." Taurasi said, "That's what I'm going to make. I mean, the janitors are going to make more than me. The guys who take the floor out and put it back. He's going to be making more money than me." It's also very important to state that that's 45,000 for only 6 months worth of work, and the janitor is making 45,000 for an entire year's worth of work. So that's just something I wanted to point out. She goes on to say, "The salary for the WNBA was so low back then, players had to arrange their income by playing overseas during the offseason. Taurasi was a great player, but she was no exception to the rule. From 2005 to 2017, she spent her off seasons playing abroad, mostly in the Russian league. I'm the best player in the world, and I have to go to a communist country to get paid like a capitalist," Taurasi said during a teaser for the 3-part series documentary on her career titled Taurasi. She goes on to say Taurasi was the number 1 overall pick of the Phoenix Mercury in the 2004 WNBA draft. After a standout college career where she won 3 straight NCAA women's titles for UConn. However, despite her credentials, her rookie salary was a mere $42,000 per season. Even after Diana won 3 WNBA titles, 2 Finals MVPs, 1 regular season MVP, and 9 All-WNBA first team honors by 2014, the salary was $107,000 per season, which was already the max deal in the league during that period. In contrast, she made $1.5 million per season playing for the UMMC Russian team in the Premier League. Not only did she get a salary 15 times higher than what she earned from her main job at the WNBA, but Taurasi and other American stars in Russia also got royal treatment as they flew on charter planes and traveled to beautiful places. So the main question is why did Diana Taurasi even play in the WNBA at all? Why didn't she just make the Premier League in Russia her main focus? Why even try to risk injury to play for a league that's going to pay you so little? So the answer is the media. The United States has the biggest media market in the world, especially when it comes to sports. Many players overseas want to come to the U.S. to play and get paid and to build their fandom and to build their legacy and get attention. So you go to the U.S. for that. Diana Taurasi and other WNBA players had to go overseas to get paid more, but they knew the bigger market was still in the U.S. So first off, I just want to hurry and state that for Diana Taurasi, she went to UConn, probably the biggest big-name university for college women's basketball. And just to point out, women's basketball is super popular. People love watching March Madness. It's super popular and it has a lot of fans because a lot of the fans go to those certain universities that the players play for. They live in those certain states and they watch those teams. They have a built-in audience. So that's what makes them so popular. And the WNBA doesn't quite have that yet, but for women's college basketball, it does. And going along with that, they make a lot more money, so they can pay for better facilities, better head coaches. So ultimately, when you go to women's college basketball, you have a much better atmosphere than when you go into the WNBA. And that's what a lot of players experience when they go into the WNBA. So many people consider Diana Taurasi the GOAT, and I feel like that's not true. I don't think she's the greatest of all time. She definitely has a really good legacy in the sport. She played for a very long time. She was very, very consistent. There's a lot that future WNBA players can learn from her. But I do feel like there was other athletes that were far better than her that maybe didn't play as long but had just as good of legacies. Like Candace Parker, for example. She was coached by the legendary college basketball coach Pat Summitt. She eventually made it into the WNBA and won MVP her rookie season. She was also mentored by the legendary Kobe Bryant of the LA Lakers. So that was quite the legacy, and I feel like for a very long time, Candace Parker had the spotlight. And if she hadn't gotten injured, she'd probably be considered the GOAT of the WNBA. I also wanted to hurry and point out that when it comes to Russia, their main sports are mainly Olympic sports. They don't really make a whole lot of money off of the women but they still have women's sports because they still want to strive to be the best. So their biggest focus can be in multiple areas, as opposed to in the US, we have so many different sports to choose from men's basketball to men's football to baseball, just so many different sports to choose from. There really is not a whole lot of room for a small league like the women's NBA with players that are not super popular to get the spotlight. So that's another reason why she was kind of looked over when it comes for big salaries, and players were not paid as much in the women's league as they were in the men's league. So I just want to hurry and point out that Diana Taurasi, one reason why she probably still played in the WNBA was for the endorsement deals, was for the fame, was for the point that she could go and get endorsement deals with like Nike and other companies and make money off those endorsements. So she had a lot of incentive to stay in the women's basketball league and ultimately become the face of the league. So that was her incentive for staying. And as far as going overseas, a lot of women do go overseas to play. A lot of college players choose just to bypass the WNBA altogether and go and play in the EuroLeague. For many years, a lot of players always considered the WNBA as a place where you go 5 to 6 months out of the year, you spend the rest of the year off doing something else, but it was never your main focus. And now modern day players are trying to make it their main focus to be basketball players and are expecting to make a living all year round off of playing basketball. And ultimately, there's just not a market for it here in the US just yet. With Caitlin Clark and other players coming into the league, it does create more attention for the league, and it'll only grow from here. But for the old guard, the older players like Diana Taurasi, the market was already so saturated. It was so hard to make a name for yourself and to really prosper in the American market like a lot of European players were doing, coming to the US to make more money and to get more publicity and get more fame from coming to the US. So ultimately, there's a lot of reasons for why Diana Taurasi chose to stay in the US and play in the WNBA. And ultimately, it comes down to she wanted to make money, she wanted to get famous, she wanted to have a legacy like a lot of players do want to have. But she is probably one of the first who ultimately chose to have a full career where she played all year round and didn't take the offseason off and just kept playing to make that money. So it was her choice to stay in the WNBA. And she's better for it. She's now got a legendary career. A lot of people know who she is. But her fame will only get greater as years go on and people see what she did in her career. But ultimately, it will pave the way for other players to get paid more in the future. But the market was just not there for her when she was playing. So that's all I have for you today. So I will catch you on the next one.